Good evening, members. Warm welcome to you from the Board of Internal Audit and Management Accounting. On the screen, you have our Honorable Vice Chairman and a very popular Central Council member across the country, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda. In fact, Vice Chairman is just a position for him. He has been the chairman of this board for many years now and has been a forerunner in ensuring that the activities of the board take place without any folly. Friends, this board is for you. This is your board. The world of audit has undergone numerous changes. The world of internal audit is not far behind. In fact, the internal audit is one such work which the professionals execute, which gives the strength to the statutory auditors and which empowers them to issue reports. In fact, internal auditor is the first person who comes face to face with whatever is happening in an organization. We have with us here CA Gokul Raj, very eminent chartered accountant from the city of Chennai, the southern part of India. He is a person who is known for his presentation skills. He is a person who is known for his professionalism. Today, he is going to deliberate and he is going to guide us through the nuances. Before I invite him to speak, let me tell you, friends, that your board is continuously working on aspects relating to the standards of internal auditing. We are always in search of people who can contribute to the board in terms of authors, as reviewers, as people who can speak, who can contribute. And if any of you sitting there are interested, kindly contact us. We are always open. Our doors are open for all of you. Friends, not wasting much of your time, I request our Honorable Vice Chairman, Sir, CA Charanjot Singh Nanda, to offer his opening remarks and also introduce the faculty of the day. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nandaji.
Thanks a lot, my chairman, Narendra Kumarji from Chennai. I am happy to welcome CA Gokul Raj, the learned faculty from Chennai. And all participants have come here to go home more enlightened in view of the discussions on challenges and opportunities of digitalization in internal audit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to very candidly put across that internal audit essentially is a management function. We as internal auditors support the management to arrive at decisions which help them create value and worth for the shareholders and stakeholders. As internal auditors, we are not only answerable to our client or stakeholder, we are answerable to the regulator and government as well. Ladies and gentlemen, now the topic in question, challenges and opportunities of digitization. I want to tell you that I am also the chairman of DAB, Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. I am the chairman of SAFA of IT committee. There were times when IT was taken as the foray of engineers or IT professionals. Now times have changed. The entire IT is driven by chartered accountants like us. Brother Rajan Kumar, like I have been in this internal audit standard board over years, Mr. Narendra Kumar has worked incessantly in the GST committee, indirect committee. And he has introduced so many measures relating to technology so that people can effectively utilize their work. When you come to technology, there are 4 benefits. First, you don't have to look at a database. You don't have to look at a sample. You can go through the entire sphere of database. Second, computers don't have wives. Whatever work is assigned, it will be finished in time. No religion, no festival, nothing. Third, the work which you assign to a computer would always be error-free. A person doing a work feels monotonous, he is not able to perform. And the last thing in digitization is that you can always determine the canvas on which you want to paint and what you want to paint. The processes, The SOPs can very effectively be installed and monitored for fallacies, if any. So today's session taken by C. Gokul Raj is going to be a very exciting session, wherein you will go through all the nuances of how digitization will help you. And in case you don't come to digitization, you won't be able to work in that tandem. You won't be able to go in line with the professionals who are growing and prospering in this country. I'm reminded of a couplet. The couplet says, Ghar khairat mein milti kamyabi. Mr. Gokul Raj, I will translate in English also. Ghar khairat mein milti kamyabi, to har shakhs kamyab hota. फिर कदर ना होती किसी हुनर की और ना ही कोई लाजवाब होता. The English version is that if you get competence in charity, then nobody would be outstanding in this world. It is your hard work, your toil that creates professionals. I belong to humble background from Bihar. I did my schooling in Bihar. When you are introduced to newer areas, and technology is such area that will change our entire perspective. So when we have a faculty of the eminence of C. Gokul Raj, I will not speak much. I would want to introduce Mr. Gokul Raj. Mr. Gokul Raj is the founder director of KEW Academy and Access Learn, a unit of KEW Education and Institutions Private Limited. He is known for his excellent mentoring of his students to make them reach the fullest potential in the field of chartered accountancy. A teacher is at the highest level when he is there to effectively support his students and ensure that they reach to the highest pinnacles of success. He teaches mercantile and corporate law and at SIRC and also serves so many institutions. He started a humble beginning. His father was a mechanic, but by his hard work and sheer resolve to rise to highest levels, he has come. He got average grades at school, but the moment he started his singing, he did his BCom from University of Madras, and then he set out to achieve what he wanted to achieve, the best thing which a person could ever do. Ladies and gentlemen, he is an avid reader of books and says that his knowledge, pedagogy, and approach to life was greatly shaped by excellent authors. He names certain authors like Robin Sharma, Napoleon Hill, and others. And to this, Eklavya, these authors were Dronacharyas. If you read this, you'll become nostalgic. Old days, no person was available. Only the statue of Dronacharya made Eklavya a better, skillful archers compared to Arjuna. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will not stand between you and Mr. Gokul Raj. He's there. The dais goes to Mr. Gokul Raj. Over to Mr. Ainder Kumar to request him to start. Yes, Mr.
Thank you, Charanjot Singh Nandaji. You have been, as usual, motivating and inspiring to many of us. And you continue to inspire us, and thank you very much. Friends, CA Gokul Raj is ready to make his presentation, but before he does so, I would seek your indulgence that I will not be able to stay for long till Gokul Raj completes his presentation because of my other commitments in the institute here in New Delhi. So I seek your apology for not being there. Gokul, from you also till the end. Of course, we have our very committed secretary of the board, CA Aarti Bansal and the team, Arun Agarwal, who are there with us. And I would leave now the forum to CA Gokul Raj to handle. Over to you, Gokul, and thanks once again for accepting our invitation to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It is indeed a great pleasure and an honor to be a speaker in this internal audit committee of the New Delhi ICI. I personally thank RK sir for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Internal audit was an area of interest right from the day of my articleship, right from 2004. I have been into internal audits, and I am doing internal audits and SOX audits and the ERP audits, and now it has come to a state where I have been invited to talk on this particular topic. I owe a lot to RK sir on many things, and now it has got added to that list. And thank you very much, RK sir. And I also thank the vice chairman for accepting and giving me this opportunity to talk to the members. So let me get into the topic, and which is a very hot topic for the today's generation, as well erstwhile the old chartered accountants also looking at the digitalization as a topic for them to help the juniors, to help the next generation chartered accountants. So let me get into the topic, and before I could get into the topic of the digitalization in the area of internal audit and what are the challenges and opportunities, let me first discuss about the perception of internal audit in the minds of the auditors, as well the management of the companies, or rather the business owners. So the perception, yes, we are moving from the recommendatory nature to the mandatory nature. We are now moving slowly to the importance and to the necessity of the internal audits to be conducted in every organization. But having said that, still the as Rajendra Kumar sir was initially telling in the initial remarks, that we have a long way to go to the internal audit importance in any organization. I would also second that particular statement, where the importance of the internal audit from the companies or from the business owners. I think the tone from the management, the tone at the top should also equivalently understand the importance of the internal audit. As sir was saying, Nanda sir was saying, that internal auditors are the fundamental people who give the assurance to the external auditors to certify that this company is going in the right direction. So, however, having said that, whether that has been got into the minds of the chartered accountants and the companies who are calling us for internal audit, the answer maybe I would not be giving it as an 100%, because I know many of the organizations, including the organizations here in Chennai and other places, even in Metro, they call auditors and they give a scope. And if you look at the scope of the internal audit, many people will call it as an internal audit, but I would see that as an extension of an external audit, what is being performed at a year end in a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. So I have seen wherever that I am a statutory auditor, I could see the companies, I could see there are certain audits that is happening on a transactional level and not concentrating more on internal controls or risk assessments, or not giving the actual definition of the internal audit and spirit. So first of all, the perception has to change, is what I thought I should start with. So we have to accept the fact, whether we like it or not, the digital has taken over the entire industry of whatever the business that the companies are into. And internal audit is not an exception to it. And we have to understand that we have to travel along with the digital advancements and digital developments that is happening at a very high speed. Yes, we hear this digitalization. Yes, we hear this word called advancements, technology, AI, RPA, robotic, and other fancy terms in the last 10, 15 years. But before that, there was digitalization, but not to the extent or not to the pace at which it is currently working on. So what is that we need to, kind of look at it from the audit perspective as an audit professional, and that too, stepping into the shoes of the management, what all the things that, we should be aware of, is what we are going to talk in this entire presentation. So before again to dwell into the subject, the 1980s and early 80s, we were all thinking that no machine could replace the audit function, or no machines can replace the human function. But unfortunately today, if you get into the banking sector, the technology is so advanced that where you can send money and you can receive money by just a click of a button. In one of the erstwhile meetings, one of my student asked me, "Sir, what do you mean by generation gap?" Though the question background was on a different perspective, but to this particular topic, I would say the generation gap is just a click of a button. While I am reading a particular document, I could see that there is another program or another new invention, another new technology is already being rolled out or is being worked upon. So the technology and the advancement of technology and the digitalization of the business processes and the companies or the business owners being pulled into the digitalization is something which we have to accept it, and which we'll have to look at taking it as an opportunity and move ahead, so that, as Nanda sir was saying, that if we are not updating ourselves, or if we are not giving our ears, or if we are not giving our full attention to the developments of digitalization, we will not be there in the profession as such. Now, coming into the digitalization. So we have heard this word in each and every topic, in each and every walk of our life. Everything is now digital, but how that is effective, how that is going to impact the audit profession or the professionals is what the topic is all about. Now, I would touch upon what we are doing currently, or what the legacy manner, or the legacy process of doing an internal audit. As you all know the steps, I'm not going to detail on those steps, but still I would like to touch upon what exactly that we are currently doing, and what is that we should be doing in the way forward to ensure ourselves to stay in that business, or into the same the internal audit profession. So currently, we as professionals, talk to the management. Sorry about that. We sit with the management. We understand the scope from the management, and most of the time the scope will be only to support the external audit, and it will be more on to review the profit and loss and the balance sheet, and it will be more to support the statutory auditor and his compliances, but not actually looking from the perspective of internal control or risk assessments, or what could go wrong or what is going wrong, and all that is not actually being taken care. But still, if we have that knowledge of what to be made known to the company, then our scope will be much more for us to play a greater role in the internal audit profession as such. Now, what we currently do, we will quickly look into the assess process. We go get the scope of audit, and we immediately look into the last quarter or last year internal audit report, and we take the points into our understanding, and then we start the audit programming, and we plan our resources and etc. And then we get onto the company, get onto the floor, get onto the business. We extract the data, we collate the data, and we kind of spool it and format it, and we do all that kind of a analysis. I could not call it as an analysis. We do all that kind of a formatting, or we do all that kind of exports and imports from the software to the Excel, and getting ready to sample selection. So once that is done, we go to the third stage called the sample selection, and then the transaction testing starts. We get into the sample population being tested. As you all know, that there are 3 P's, which is very important for any audit process. So which is the process of the audit, the people who's auditing, and the population what is being audited. So the entire discussion will revolve around this 3 P's, and we should be talking more about this in detail in the future, in the next couple of minutes. But for us to understand that the transaction audit to be carried out, we should know what is the sample size, and we should know what is that we need to do. So let me spend some time here. Many do a random sampling, and many take the sample as a top down approach, or a bottoms up approach, or they select it based on some criteria and some judgmental factors. But for an internal auditor, there should be some rationale on the audit sampling before we could get into the transactional audit. So we should look at the the risk associated to a particular process. You take whether it is a P2P or procurement to pay or order to cash or the fixed assets, whatever. The internal audit, we'll have to design it in such a fashion that we break the entire organization's processes into sub-processes and sub-processes into activities and activities into sub-activities, and we will have to see how these activities are having an effect financially in the entire risk assessments. So we should be very clear on what is being taken as a sample and what is that we have to do with that sample, and after doing the audit on that sample, is that sample giving us the expected result or the confidence or the assurance that yes, this particular audit process is functioning it very well, is what we have to get a confidence. So we do the transaction testing after the sample selection is done, and we generate an exception report and we send that to the client, and the client looks at the the entire submission of audit points, and as we all know, they will not accept it. They will give all reasons of whatever they want, and they will say, sir, we did not know that this would happen on that day. It was one of an exception, so it will not happen again. All that kind of a story they will say, and if the story has not to be listened, then we should have adequate samples and adequate failures in the samples that we select to conclude that as a point, and then we get the response from the management and we draft the reports, and then the final report is presented to the board and audit committee. Now, this is the general process that we do. This is the general current process, that the manual process that every auditor is doing it with every company. But what is that we can do in terms of the digital support that we can seek of all this process? Let me tell you, of all the steps that we are currently doing, I am very sure that the transaction testing and the sample selection can be made robotic, or we can bring in RPAs, robotic process automations, into these steps where we can reduce our energy, we can reduce our focus, we can reduce our manpower in spending in these two areas, and we can concentrate more to align ourselves with the strategic decision making support process to the management. We can travel along with them in the longer run on achieving the objectives of the company, and we don't need to anymore settle ourselves only with the transactional level audit and just stay one step away from the management. No, the internal auditor should be a part of the management. The internal auditors are someone who has an equivalent voice as that of a director in a company. He is the one who has to whistleblow. He is the one who has to actually bring the anomalies to the board and say, hey, we are going wrong here. We have to have a preventive mechanism. We have to have a detective counter corrective actions. So all this is something which an internal auditor has to look at it. So of these all steps, I am very confident that if an auditor can understand the information technology and the usage of the various audit tools and other matters, which we'll be talking about later, and they can reduce their manpower, and they can reduce their work time, and the population what you take would be only a sample. When we start implementing the RPA, or when we start implementing the tools to use the audit to get the audit results, I think we can even go to a level of achieving 80 to 100% of these samples, and we will be able to get a bigger clarity, better clarity about how the company functions and how the internal controls and the internal processes is functioning in any organization. So currently what we are doing is what we looked at it, and maybe like we will move on to understand what are the key challenges that currently what we face today on what is an as-is process as such. So as I told you, the steps of what we are currently doing, talking to the management and getting the scope and sending our people sampling and transactional audit and, put a internal audit report and then get a response is all something which everybody does it irrespective of the size of the organization. Now we should also, as I was in the opening, initial minutes of the meeting, I was trying to tell you that we should understand the importance of the internal audit, and we should not just like that follow internal audit as some requirement of a compliant requirement, because Companies Act is necessitating it, or the SEBI wants us to do it, or the statutory bodies wants us to assure on the internal controls and internal audit procedures. We should not be only trying to satisfy those people. We should in turn look that as a reverse process. We should start internal audit function as something to help the management to achieve their objectives and their strategies that is being kind of worked at the top level. So I think internal auditors are somebody who has to work at the top level and who should not be kind of working at a step just above the external auditor. So what are the current challenges that we face in the assess process in doing our internal audit today? So I would say the ERPs, understanding of the ERPs of the client is a challenge. Yes, I don't know. How many of we are all good at looking at the numbers. We are all very good at interpreting the numbers. We are all very good in cross checking the numbers. But how many of us really navigate through the ERPs like SAPs or Oracle or Zoho for that matter? We all believe that the data which comes from the computer is always right, but I slightly differ here to what Nanda sir said in the initial opening remarks, that I strongly believe the computer results what we get is all on a method of GIGO. What is in, what is out, what we give, what we get. So the rule which is set in the ERP should be very strong. We should be actually, the internal auditor should be forming part of every organization when a new ERP or when a new module in a ERP is being implemented. The management should call us upon, and we should be engaging with the company right from the day one of a new ERP if it is being implemented. And that's, I think, currently we have a great big challenge with the the professionals, because we know SAP. Okay, the next client may have Oracle. It's not also possible for us to learn each and everything and go to the client to get a new client. But on the other side, we should have at least a basic understanding how this ERP works, because the technology that which is trying to integrate the entire organization. See, the organization need not work on one exclusive ERP. It may have a standalone softwares. For example, if it's a retail company, it may have a POS, point of sale. If it's a service industry, it may have only one ERP which will raise an invoice, which will also be the accounting ERP. So there the question would not be much for us to understand. But if it's going to be a manufacturing company, they may be using a separate tool for the in gate pass and out gate pass, and they'll be working on a smart package or a smart tool which is worked at the weighbridge of any manufacturing company, and that would be integrated with the POS, and the POS would be integrated with the ERP. So understanding this entire I put it as a ERP challenge that currently what the auditors are facing. But eventually this will happen, even if in the way forward, if we are going to use the audit tools, and if we are going to use any advanced techniques, still this will be a challenge. But the understanding of the entire link in the ERP would become very easier, because we don't need to actually put our heads if we have some audit tools and audit support systems through which we can integrate it, and we can extract the reports, and we can start doing the analytics in a very much more efficient manner. So I would call the ERPs today is a challenge for us to understand. It's not a ERP, the challenge is the understanding of the ERP is a challenge for an auditor. And of course, the next one, everyone would be accepting with me and everyone would be, joining hands with me. The audit team is a challenge which every auditor is facing today, because gone are those days where, when the auditors come into the room, I was also there as an article clerk for 3 years, where without knowing, we will not know what's happening in us, but automatically we would be standing up from the chair and we would be respecting him. So that's a kind of the, understanding that a student and the principal had, but I somehow feel, I know that I'm being recorded, but somehow I feel that somewhere is, because of the new modern generation and the so-called techno generation, they feel that they know everything, but unfortunately it is not. They have to, spend a lot of time in understanding the audit client, and we have to, educate them, and you'll have to give them the permanent audit file. You will have to ask them to create a CAF, which is called a current audit file. And now how much, the audit team is efficient is again a question. So again, depending on the people, instead I would suggest that if we can slowly start depending on the, process or a program which is, externally available for us to do certain audit procedures, I think, the challenge can be kind of mitigated, and where we can use only the audit team to, start thinking intellectually. And we also have problems in periodicity of audit. We also have, problems in the audit coverage, because the manual audit process, what we are currently doing, will have a problem on the coverage. Absolutely, because we cannot be, doing 100% audit, because 100% audit, is equivalent to having an internal audit team inside the organization. Even the internal audit team in the organization, the team inside will also not be able to do 100% unless and until they start using the audit tools, and if they are not using certain, digital advancements into their audit processes. So audit coverage is again a challenge, and periodicity is a challenge, and, on-demand visibility. The fees would be very, very less, but still the auditor, the client would expect the senior most auditor to come and sit and talk about, certain key points or non-key points over a cup of coffee. So the on-demand visibility, is a challenge that currently we are facing. If it's going to be a digital environment through which, if we are going to do the audit process, we can have a team that's set up in our own office, and we can, extract the data from the companies, or we can pull the data through our integration with our audit tools, and still we can have a eye on the people in our own office to, see how people are doing the audit. So the on-demand visibility is again a challenge. So all this is something which we are currently, going through. Now, what is this way forward, or what is this, that we need to kind of look at it? So I would say the digital innovation that would benefit the internal audit and internal control team is something which will increase the efficiency and effectiveness. So the digital way of, for example, if you, I think you all will know about this BI and Power BI from the Microsoft. In fact, to all our clients, what we do, we take the expert on BI on board with us, and we try to take the data and help to form certain tags, and we will try to check the data and how the data performs. In fact, in one of our clients, we were able to assess sales of a particular SKU or a sales of a particular product that was, very steep before COVID, but after COVID, it is not picking up. So two products where one product was sold 2 years continuously at a high volume, but after a year or two there was another product which was selling at a high volume. So in fact we brought this the audit that we did, and we spoke to the management, and management was actually kind of wanting to look at it, and they were saying like, yes, we were also looking at this, and it's good that you are also trying to point this out, and they were happy to kind of talk on that particular audit finding of a particular product that we were trying to tell them. So now the internal auditors have to kind of move, not to engage themselves in a mundane task, but getting into a consulting role or getting into a advisory role where we talk about whether we can continue this product, whether we can produce this product on a batch wise, whether should there be a new innovation that has to be brought to the product, and is in fact the social media and understanding of the social media is also something which the auditors has to take care of if we are going to audit the very famous brands or retail brands like Unilever and Procter and Gamble and other products, where that really helps us in terms of understanding how the market for those products and what is the sale and what is the production, and all that is something which we can get those information on social media. So the innovation benefits that I would call at as on the digitalization is the increased efficiency and effectiveness, and the increased assurance on certain controls that is being performed in an organization. So when an auditor is equipped with the auditing in the digital environment, he could see that the audit that what is being performed by use of the digitalization can give an increased assurance about the company's performance, and it also makes you to be a person of strategic support rather than working as just a pure professional. So it helps you to position you from the more strategic perspective. The digitalization and the use of digital advancements for an auditor, it helps the auditor to assess whether the risks are being properly addressed, because the moment we do the manual auditing, or when we are doing the auditing in a legacy form, we will not be able to do the entire population. The one big benefit of digitalization, the one big benefit of bringing the tools, audit tools, and bringing the external support in terms of integrating and doing data analytics, it helps you to gain an assurance on whether this is one of a case, or is it the case that is happening every month, or is it the case happening in every quarter. So those kind of things, if we come across, then there is a possibility that the risk may be reduced to a certain extent of the controls that what you are trying to look at it. And once we start using the digital form, the time consuming of doing an audit is getting reduced, and even we can kind of charge a little more, or we can increase the fees by reducing the manpower but increasing the intellect and the strategy partnership. Now let me quickly talk about the innovation enablers for the internal auditors and the internal control department in any organization, or for the internal auditors who is also looking at an internal control perspective. So what are all the innovative enablers that we have to concentrate on? The number one is data analytics and business intelligence. The number one is the continuous auditing and continuous monitoring tool. The third is intelligent automation. The intelligent automation is the area where we bring the RPA and we bring the AI and we bring the ML. As I have to expand it, it's nothing but robotic process automation and artificial intelligence, machine learning. So we will go one by one, and to start with the data analytics and business intelligence. There are various tools, as you all know, that Power BI. We have view and Tableau. These are all certain tools that is available for us to export the data. In fact, we work in Power BI, and we work with Microsoft tool, where we get the data, we extract the data, and we write the coding, or we give the syntax to the computer to give us the desired results. So we take the past data, we take the current data, and we may even take certain places the futuristic data, and we may come out with the suggestion to the management saying that this would work, this would not work. And we get that on a very periodical basis. We don't need to actually sit and work on gone are those days where we spool the data, we bring into Excel, we create macros, and we work day and night to see how the company is performing, the company is functioning. In fact, this particular audit tools, which creates a dashboard for the auditor as well for the management also. So the management can also look at the top selling product. They can look at the more consuming raw material. They can look at the higher turnover of the employees. They can look at the overtime payment that is being made, and still the production is not happening. The sales is not growing up, but still the overtime cost is going on the other side. So all that is something which the management can also look at it. Now for an auditor, the internal auditor, these kind of suggestions or these kind of red areas where we are going to highlight to the management, it will be of a great liking from the management, for them to engage us on a longer period. So the first important point that I should talk is about the data analytics and the business intelligence. So we should create the various forms and means by which we need the data to talk to us. So this softwares or this tools will talk to us, will tell what we wanted, and the tools that has come today, which was not available 10 years, 12 years before. I still remember the days when I went to audit, I used to do this BRS as one of the area, and I'll be spending about 2-3 days in doing BRS, getting all the banks statements and doing it for a year or a half yearly, depending on the periodicity of the audit. But today, I don't give that as a audit program line item for my audit team, because the softwares, even the Tally does the BRS. The only thing is that you should know how to get that reconciliation statement out of the software. If you really don't know how to engage the software to give you the desired results, then it's something that we'll have to work on, upskilling ourselves in the digital learning. But on the other side, the companies have grown. Even an SME is now not even working on the BRS, or not even taking printouts and working on it. In fact, the banks server, I mean, I would not call it as a server. The bank's reporting, or the bank's sending email form, is being kind of integrated with our system, and we cannot go and change the format of Canara Bank. We cannot go and change the format of State Bank. But still, what is the detail that is sent to us? We can write a program, or we can create what is expected out of those bank statements for us to take and put it into the system, which will map it with the bank book that we have in our ERP and give us a desired result of what the BRS should actually give. So we have gone to that age where whatever that we were doing those days during the audit period has now become redundant. The people are not actually looking all these areas as an area of audit anymore, because the audit tools and the ERPs itself is giving you the desired reconciliation statement. Not only the bank reconciliation statement, it is talking about the GST reconciliation statement. It is giving you the data reconciliation statement. It is giving you the input credit and etc. and etc. So we should be working more on analyzing the data of the past and the present and the future, and draw conclusions and give suggestions to the management on certain important business decisions. So maybe we ourselves can ask a question: is it my lookout? Is it my duty? Is it my scope of work to sit in the to get into the shoes of the management and to take some strategic decisions? Actually, I would say that the role of an internal auditor is moving from what we are currently doing to that role. We are actually moving to the role of a strategic partnership. We are moving into the role of decision making professional into the board, suggesting the people on what to do and what not to do with whatever the data that what we have. So I would say the data analytics and business intelligence is gaining more importance, and there are courses available, there are tools available. If you actually don't want to get into learning, if you actually you should see, there are two things. One is like working on the information technology or navigating through the internet information technology, the IT, what is the ERPs, and the other is like asking the relevant questions which would help us to make the decisions right. So I would say the chartered accountants at a very senior level should at least learn on what are the important questions to be asked and what are the right questions that has to be asked, for which the learning and knowing of that particular tool or the software is very much important. So the business intelligence tool is available, the data analytics tools are available, and we have experts who are working on exclusively on data analyzing. So we can even hire, and we can include that cost also into our internal audit function, and we can give a report, not like a report what we are previously or currently given. Now we can give a different report altogether with the help of the business analytics and intelligence. The next is all about the continuous auditing and continuous monitoring tool. So what is that the continuous auditing and continuous monitoring tool does? See, the continuous auditing is the activity that we do on a detective methodology, or we call that as a post-mortem activity. Normally the internal audit, what is there in the minds of the people today, including very big corporates, except those listed corporates, even if they are doing a 300-400 crore turnover company but not listed, still their understanding of an internal audit is just doing something post-mortem after what is being done. But I differ on this point. Internal audit should be more driving us towards the preventive methodology, the preventive audits, and where I would call that as a continuous monitoring, or where I would call that as a continuous check on a real-time basis. Now the digitalization has gone to that level where the errors, where the mistakes are being thrown immediately to the users or to the audit function department as an alarm. I know there are certain companies where if you see the user ID and the password of a particular profession, a particular employee is being logged from a different geography, from a different computer. This is being done in even Gmail. If you go to your Gmail user ID and password in some system other than the system what you regularly log in, immediately it sends you a pop-up in your mobile and it will ask you to open the YouTube, or it will send you a OTP where you are expected to put that OTP into that new system which is being logged in. So for a Gmail, this kind of a double check has started happening. So now if this can be done for a normal public for a Gmail account, the doing it in an organization for about 4,500 employees, or for a 400 to 500 employees, is not a big challenge or a big task. So any wrong entry into a user ID by a different professional can be addressed, and this comes as a preventive methodology, and this is called where a continuous monitoring of the real-time audit or a real-time preventive is being happening. So this is one example like this, and in fact, in one of the companies that I know, where the email functions, or rather the vendor invoice which is being sent, vendor invoice which is being sent to the company is sent through an email ID, a common email ID, and that common email ID, the company has spent a lot to write a bot, and they have given all the rule which helps that the receiving email to send it to the concerned department or a concerned user. So assuming that the vendor is sending a bill or an invoice for an amount of 4 lakhs, immediately the mail that is received works on some bot rule, where it checks on connecting to the ERP whether this particular invoice number has already been paid, whether this invoice is already in the process of getting paid, whether this goods is second time being delivered, or is the goods are already being finished receiving, is there a open PO pending for this invoice, all that kind of a quick check that the company does. And then if it satisfy all the conditions, if it satisfy all that AI driven rule conditions, then it forwards the concerned invoice to the next level, and where the invoice processing team receives it. And again, there is a bot that sends it to the concerned user. So it works on a chronological methodology and also on a volume method. For example, if the invoice is amounting to 4 crores, and if it is related to the capital purchase, it will not go to a normal user for invoice processing. It would go to a different person who would be assigned to that particular invoice. The invoice goes there. So the human intervention of receiving, gone are those days where the tapal section was there, and we receive the invoice and we put a seal on that, and send it to that particular department, and the department head looks at it, opens it, and send it to another person, and that person looks at it, checks with all the store department, checks it with the weighbridge department, I mean the security gate, and it does all that, and then it will take 30-45 days for making the payment. So the technology is getting advanced to a level where the process of what I said has already become a digital process, and where the intervention of human has very drastically reduced close to zero. So now if we have to check on this, then we'll have to rely, and we'll have to understand how this rule is being framed. We have to do a negative testing. We'll have to do a testing which would break the rule. So if they say that if the 4 crores is has to be sent to this particular person, we should check whether that particular 4 crores bill can be sent to another person by giving somebody's name in the queue. So all that is something which we can kind of look at, and a continuous monitoring on a real-time basis, and where the internal audit department can work, look at the dashboards and understand how this particular audit this process is happening, and is there a risk, and if the risk is being mitigated, and if the risk is still open, if there is some compensating control, is there somebody who is receiving it manually. All that is something which an auditor has to actually look into it, because as I told you, that the auditor's role in an internal audit, in the management, is very, very key. And every step, every activity, every sub activity in every process, every sub process, be it P2P or be it O2C, be it GAR process, or be it a fixed assets process, whatever it may be for that matter, the auditor should be very well versant with the process as such. So the next, tool that we can introduce in order to get what is really happening from our client's place, or from the department, if it's an internal audit function which is there in the company, then we should try looking at introducing this continuous auditing and continuous monitoring tools. And this would also take care of whether the particular audit process has to be a detective or a preventive, and what are the corrective actions that has to be taken immediately. So the next would be the intelligent automation. Here comes the advanced level of automation in any company, which would kind of look from the perspective of the auditors also. This robotic process automation in the internal audit process will reduce or rather reduce the work of the second level audit professionals or the audit assistants, and mostly the data would flow to us directly, and the data would flow in such a form where we just apply our intellect, and where we take decisions and report the anomalies, and look at what the corrective actions to be taken by the management. So I would say that whatever the robotic process automation that being built in should work as a defense in three lines. Number one, it should ensure that the operations are seamlessly happening with no stop, or with no slowing down the process. And it should also be built not only to support the process, or not only to complement it, but also to take care that the compliances is being also being mitigated, is also being followed correctively. The third is it should also give you the data. It should also help you to provide the information for your internal audit and other matters. So the robotic introduction in the audits can be in many places. As I was talking to you in the email, email receipt and sending it to the invoice processing team, and allocating it to the users to process the invoice. There we can say the documents are being read. The human who was reading the documents and looking at whether there's a revenue item or a capital item, and then send it to the concerned person for processing. Now the system, the computers, the robots has started looking at it. The reading is now possible by the system, and you'll have to give it in a specific form, and where the bots can read the documents and accordingly help us in giving the information in our decision making. So the robots the bot which can be used in the audits are to read the documents, to extract the data. We can give certain key fields, and we can still look at the data as being extrapolated or extracted in what form that we are having it on our mind. So the bot can be the intelligent automation can help us in the document storage and the trial. Now the recent developments that is happening at the government and at the statutory body level, that the audit trial should be left, and it should be recoverable as quickly as possible, is something which is being spoken in the last couple of months, and where the storage and the trial is possible by the bots being introduced, and this bots can immediately check our data with other data which is there in the public domain. For example, if the sales of a particular organization is only this much in this quarter, and it can connect with the competitive or the competitor websites or the general available information, and compare it and say that this particular product or this particular brand has sold this much by this company, and we are doing only this much. And because of that competitive and the comparative information, we'll be able to apply our logic of where things are going wrong. So access to the external portals, access to the government websites is a possible when bots are being introduced, and interfacing with the system and application tool. As you all know that, as I've already also told you, the organizations work on many standalone systems, standalone softwares or standalone tools. It depends on the industry to industry. If it's an export industry, it requires a different software or a tool which works on the shipping line or the container booking, or it works in the shipping team, or you call that as a logistics team. They work on that particular software, and that particular software will be so user friendly for them to immediately punch on the requirements by the Indian customs, and they'll be able to immediately generate an invoice. They'll be immediately able to request the container, and all that can be done from that software. But the output of that particular tool has to somewhere get integrated to the ERP, and then only the payment can go from the finance team for the ship to clear the goods to the export to wherever the country. So the interfacing is something which we should be very clearly aware of, for which we need to know the process. We need to understand the entire business nature. We need to understand how the processes and the sub processes and the activities are all mapped to the interface. All that is something which we need to understand. So once we understand all this, we'll be able to reduce our time in terms of looking at the audit procedures or audit sampling as such. So other intelligent automation that can work on is about throwing us exceptional reports. So we don't need to actually kind of look from top to bottom or bottom to top, looking at each and every line item, looking at drawing a pivot table in Excel, looking at the data presented to us at a large number of lines, and getting confused and baffled, and getting out of the Excel, and then we may somewhere compromise on the assurance that what we need to get in order to sign the balance sheet, or in order to report the management. So the tools can help us. The tools, we have to just give the requirements in an understandable form. So if we say that bring the table from here, bring the table from here, and give only these details from these two tables, and give me a consolidated report, and that consolidated report can throw us the exceptional reports. For example, if we need to look at the revenue leakage, or if we have to look at the sale that is happening in a hospitality industry, or the medical field, where there will be a room tariff, and where there will be a predefined rates for each and every food item, each and every room types. Then if we are losing some revenue out there, and if we find that the guest has stayed in the room but not paid, then we'll have to take the in-house report of the particular ERP, front office ERP, and then we'll have to also look at the revenue collections or the night audit report, and then we'll have to take out the exception and say this particular guest has not paid the room revenue or the room tariff, or in fact if the room tariff is only about 5,000 and we have charged only 2,400, then again that comes as an exception. So we can give multiple requirements to the tool, and we can get reports as what we wanted or what we are looking at as an anomaly or an exception. So there's an example that that I am trying to share it with you in one of the audits that we have already done. So maybe in the hospitals, or maybe in the logistic industry, maybe in the hospital industry, the restaurant industry, retail industry, everywhere, if you understand the business, you will understand where the anomalies could go wrong, and you can, draw those tables, draw those reports, or draw those information, extract those information from the relevant place and put it and assemble it, and, get the desired result. So exceptional reporting is somewhere is a place where we can use the bot and use the automation, use the digital advancement in the audit process, and reporting and MIS, we can use the bot technology. We can use the the audit tools to help us to compare the actual versus budget. When we are going on a very big organization audit, this becomes a very important key factor for us to look at MIS. In one of our audits, we found that the sales would go up in the last 4 days of every month end. And once the MIS is done, once the MIS is over, we would see, huge returns or a huge sales return. So I'm talking about, 7, 8 years before, where the two different reports, one is the sales reports and the invoices. These two were not kind of actually looked at a 360-degree, and there was no matching concept between these two. The person who's in the receiving end, he receives just putting a chapa and he takes back the goods, and the person who is sending the invoice, he just generate the invoice, and the goods are out. We found that the goods are out from the factory, and then it is sent to the local lorry, lorry third party, where he receives it. He keeps it for about 1 week and 10 days, and then he sends it back. And the sales executives were happily getting commissions on the sales that is being achieved on every year, every month end. So we were called to understand what things were going wrong, and we took these two reports and we tried to bring one common factor into it, and then we compared it, and we then spent a lot of time, and then we introduced a policy that the incentives cannot be only on sales or on a sales target. The incentives has to be both, where sales as well the collection, if it happens, then the incentive would be given, and then slowly the sales returns started reducing. Now we have got many tools which immediately does this job, and where we spent about 2.5 3 months in understanding the entire process and getting onto the different audit package. I mean different packages, different POS, different softwares being used, and then we were able to come to a kind of a report finding. But in today's situation in the 21st century, where with the various digital tools available, we can quickly find the anomalies of what I was trying to explain all about. So this is with respect to the intelligent automation. So as I was telling you, the three different enablers, the three different innovation enablers in digital environment for the internal audit and internal control to support the auditors is: one, data analytics; the second is the business intelligence, continuous auditing and continuous monitoring; and the third one is about intelligent automation, where RPA comes in, where the mission language comes in, where AI comes in, where understanding of the technology is something which we need to take care of. Now, what are the challenges and the opportunities? See, I can say that the opportunities are nothing but the inverse of challenges. The vice versa is also possible. So if I am going to tell you the challenges, or rather the difficulties that what we are having currently on hand, is possibly the solution also. The inverse of it is also the possible solution of it. So the first and the foremost that I would want to talk about is about the data availability and the quality of data. So we will have to, kind of educate. We should go one step above than just an internal auditor, and we have to take that responsibility of educating or telling or informing or making the people who are day to day working in the environment to understand the importance of the data. We may the quality spool will not come. The old legacy systems cannot give you the desired output. The lack of data consistency, data related to navigating and accessing the data, manual operations being processed. So these are all certain things that I would say that as a challenge on hand, whether we because for data analytics and for business intelligence, as I was talking previously, we need data. In fact, I was talking to one of my consultant, and in fact, we were just jokingly talking that the Google Map is following us, and it is taking our pattern. It's taking our spending pattern. It's taking about our consumption pattern. It's taking our habits. It takes about, for example, if I park my car for about 2 to 3 days, okay, 2 to 3 days away from my home or the office, because I have pinned the Google location in my Google Map, where I have put it as home and work. And if my car is not parked in any of these two places for about 4 to 5 days, you'll be surprised that I would get a message either from Uber or Ola or from any other apps that I have along with my Google this thing. So that's the kind of the level of the data that people are taking from us without even knowing. So when we were talking, we were just trying to understand, sir, tell me, if I'm going and giving a Google review about a cafe coffee day, and by mistake if I type as COFEE instead of COFFEE, and when I go to the the third time, the second time, and I do a correct spelling, and if I have to take a report, how many times Gokul Raj has gone in the last 6 months to Cafe Coffee Day, I was surprised that the data at the back end, with even the spelling mistakes, it was able to give me the exact number of times that I was going to Cafe Coffee Day. So that's the kind of the data that you will have to create it, or you will have to bring that data maturity in an organization for any auditor to look at it. So this is a challenge in every organization. People do it, but people really don't know what they do would help anybody in the way forward to use that as any piece of information for any decision making. So it's just being done, it's being recorded, it's being uploaded. But when if we are going to take it out, and if we are going to work on those data, do we get the data in the desired format? So this data availability and data quality is a place where we can work upon. We can start working with the IT guys. We can start working with the management in terms of ensuring that the input what is being put in a specified format. So we can start looking this as an opportunity to work along with the management in implementing the data creation itself. So we can design what is the data that has to be put in. We can create the test of design. We can work along with the management to create a DTP, to work on an SOP, to give the user, to give the department, to give the process owner the complete set of how they have to function and what is that they will have to put in. Again, here comes the automated controls, where if you are creating a PO and there are certain fields that has already been made as a mandatory, which you cannot, which you cannot move on without even filling that particular mandatory field. So the system itself wants you that the amount column is blank. The system itself will want you that the quantity is blank. The SAP and all will never allow you, even if you don't know the quantity, for an open PO or a blanket PO, they put one quantity or a two quantity or some understanding will be there in the organization that if it's one quantity or if it is 1 lakh quantity, they will put like 1 lakh quantity for one particular year, and the people will be supplying in that one PO, and every time when you look at it, you see that as a open PO, pen PO, and you will be keep on reporting in every month or every quarter, and you will not understand that that particular PO is a blanket PO. So you will have to kind of eliminate that particular item from your report, because it brings the image of an auditor also in the eyes of the client. The client would really look at you saying that, sir, every month it is coming, so why don't you delete it? Because it's not of no use, because we all know that it's a PO which is pending and it will be closed only in the March month end. So the SAP or any other ERP for that matter, there are certain mandatory field which you cannot escape from. So you will have to work with the management in terms of designing of what you want to look at the data to analyze. So that data, what you want, if you can define that itself, has become a huge exercise for our people as a consultant or as a professional, to work with the management to create on SOPs, to create on design templates, to work on the design data of what is required. So if we can look this challenge what we currently have as an opportunity, yes, we can be called by many organizations to work on creating valid input data. And I would call the technological capabilities and resources as a challenge. Yes, I do agree that there is a challenge in the technological capabilities, that whether the auditor has to spend on this much, or the auditor has to put the time and effort to learn all this. Let me tell you, the more and more you play around, and the more and more you work on the systems, the tools, there are more and more of opportunities for you to earn more, because the client would expect the results little faster. The clients would expect you to work in tandem with what he is looking at from you as a management representative. So the challenge is the technological capabilities and resources. You will have to develop it. You will have to start investing on it, either the time or the effort in learning, or you don't need to actually spend huge amount of money, just about 4,000 to 5,000 rupees per month, that you can get a BI user license. You can get a monthly license for you to work on the BI. So the cloud-based things have brought the costing very cheap, and sharing model and the SaaS models have given you the economic way of learning and updating yourself. So you will have to work on the technological capabilities for working with the bigger organizations. And the challenge that what you will have is the cost of design in the initial stages, the cost of regular work that is to be done in terms of continuous monitoring. All this is something which is the lookout of the companies who is going to engage us. Yes, if they need a very good desired result, they should be ready to spend on us and for the reports what we give. But the only thing that I need to tell you all is that the payment what we are getting from the client should be commensurating to that of the report what we give. So we should understand that the internal audit is no more a transactional audit. It is no more an audit which would support only the external auditor. It is an audit function that which should be done in tandem and joining hands with the management in responding to the objectives of the company being run in the visions and the missions and the strategic goal setting, and all that is something which an internal auditor has to take part of it. So I think I've fairly, kind of touch based upon the internal audit function and the internal audit importance on the digitalization. So I take up the questions, Mr. Agarwal or Mr. Nisrag. Can we go to the question sessions if some questions are there for us? There are 4 questions that has come. Nice session. Okay. Constitution adopted in 1950. ICI founder, doing the evaluation chart of use the work of expert, for instance. Survey for inquiring the work completed for assessing the contact revenue. If a student is pursuing all 3 courses, which one he or she should prefer? Okay, this looks like a student question. I'm not taking up that question. It has come from Anita. And the next question is, what possible impact can ChatGPT and similar functionalities bring on auditing profession? Threat or opportunity? CA Pradeep. Okay. Yes, I would see this as both threat as well an opportunity. The too much of information, too much of data. Yes, it is available even today. Even before ChatGPT came in, there is a huge data that is available. But what is the right data is a big question. What is the data that is being looked upon is again key. See, even though the topic is on digitalization, even though the topic is all about the digital in the internal audit environment, I would still, stand on my point that 100% the digitalization cannot happen in any audit function, because audit is all about using your intellect. So the route or the routine would be the basic aspect of the digitalization and the informations what we have across the various external resources, but still taking the right data, corroborating it, collating it, and bringing it in a particular form and making a decision and supporting your decision and talking to the management and making them to understand about what you suggest. It's all about, how do you actually use that data? So I would say that yes, it's a threat as the way forward, but along with the threat, we have a opportunity that the intellectual part cannot be replaced. So it's too early for the ChatGPT being coming in to look at as a threat. It's a long way to go. So I could see in the next 10-12 years it would not be a threat. It will be more of an opportunity. So let me look into the next question. Management accounting reports are not subject to statutory audit. Yes, management accounting reports are not subject to statutory audit. Okay, financial accounting reports are subject to statutory audit. This can be applied everywhere if I have to look into any stage of scrutiny. Say if while watching and verification of cash and bank vouchers, the mistake cannot be accurately bookmarked with specific person. Yes, the management accounting reports are not subject to financial audit. I would not agree that point because any statutory auditor, even now, the SME companies for which the auditors are expected to look at the strength of the internal controls and the internal audit procedures in any organization. So the management accounting or the management accounting reports, the management accounting reports, the management auditing reports. Management accounting reports are not subject to statutory audit. I'm missing out this question here. I think management accounting reports or management auditing reports. Management auditing reports, if it is that being the case, yes, it becomes a very key for the statutory auditors to look at it. And if it's the management accounting reports, yes, it's only looked by the financial people. But let me try to, make it clear that every activity or every sub activity which is being done by any user at any level will have a financial implications. So that what we call in the internal control as a key control or non-key control. So anything which has a direct impact on the financials, direct impact on the financial loss, or which has a direct impact on the GP or the NP or the top line or the bottom, then yes, it is definitely a flag and it's definitely a key control or a risk that is, something which has to be addressed. There are certain, areas where it will be non-financial or a non-financial activity where such activities we would call it as a non-key controls, and that will not be a lookout for a financial or a statutory auditor. So the classification of the internal controls into key and non-key would be the decisive factor for the reliance of the statutory auditor on the internal auditor is something which we'll have to look at it. So we'll have to break down the entire processes and the entire activities into key and the non-key. Once the key and the non-key, if we are able to understand it, then we can say the reliance by the statutory auditor whether he can take it up or not. Kindly explain how you red flag adverse issues involving KMP and board. The Companies Act has given you a very clear instructions on how we'll have to deal in terms of the fraud, in terms of the fraud involving a particular amount and beyond an amount whom we have to report to. So it's a very delicate question. If we are answerable to the stakeholders, if we are answerable to the shareholders, and if it's a public listed company, if it's a public company, then yes, we will have to raise the red flag and we'll have to make that known, and we'll have to bring it in our reports, and we'll have to make that known to the shareholders, and we'll have to also send a note to the external statutory auditors regarding this particular issues about KMPs and boards. What specific courses on IT skills will help internal auditors cope with the digital technology? CISA is a very good course. CISA is one good course where you can understand how this IT actually works, and we have something in the Institute of Startup Governance of India which is called as a DISA as well. So that courses would definitely help us in terms of understanding the IT and the audit around the IT. What specifically? Yes, what is the basic technical knowledge that one should have before subscribing for BA tools, and are there any courses that you can recommend? See, there are many courses available in many online platforms like Coursera or Unacademy, where they teach you on how this BI actually works. There is not much that they charge you at a very, 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 less amount. And I would suggest, don't get into learning on how to code, on learning on how to write the language for all this. Try to develop your skills on how to question on the data which is being pulled on your behalf, or which is extracted on your behalf. So I would say there are many courses that is available in many digital academies, so you can subscribe for it. And there are weekly programs, and there are number of hours on a basic advanced level which is available. So you can look at a basic, and if it's okay, you can go with the same people for the advanced also. And there are people who are authorized agents, authorized people who teaches Power BI, and there are many people in India. And we work with a couple of people in Chennai, and where those people train my own audit team, and they train our audit staffs on how to work on the BI tool to extract the reports and other basic aspects. So you can search for those people who can help you come. And if you really want anybody, I can refer post the session of whoever the consultants with whom I am working on. So the financial accounting reports are subject to stat audit. Yes, it is. Yes, financial accounting reports are subject to stat audit. Yes. It's the same person. No, it's the same person. Financial accounting reports are subject to stat audit. Yes, it is. It is subject to stat audit. Can internal auditor be an advisor or proposer of any new internal control systems or business plan for additional income? No, you cannot be suggesting a new business line or a new business venture. That would not be in the role of a internal auditor, but we can suggest the board or the company that I saw this particular product of your various products that is in the market is being sold heavily, and there is a huge demand for it. And why don't you look at increasing the production? What is that which is stopping you? Is there any competition that is already more in the market, or is it something that you are still on the R&D phase of it? So you can suggest in terms of looking at the data available with you, but I don't think you can get into the shoes of the management in terms of what that management of the company should do. I think that is prerogative of the company or the shareholders or the board. Maybe we can suggest based on the data available with us that we are still in the for example, if we are in the pickle industry, for example, if we are producing pickle, and if the product is being only sold in domestic, we can see that there's a huge demand in the international markets, and we can suggest that there are more people who are looking out for our product from social media questions and from the various inquiries that has come to the inquiry portal. All that is something which we can look at and suggest them to start looking at exporting, and we cannot mandate them that you have to do it. That role we don't have. So I think these are all the questions. Aarti ma'am, I think
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. I would like to thank you to discuss this best practices covering that internal audit sampling, documentation, reporting in digital environment, as well as highlighting the aspects essential for strengthening internal audits value proposition in today's digital environment, and tools and techniques to be used by that internal auditor in digital environment. I thank you for this wonderful session. I would like to thanks to all the participants for sparing time to this session and sharing their questions with us. As well as I would like to thanks to our chairman and vice chairman whose continuous support is providing this, conducting this program. And I would like to thanks my team as well as IT team who is handling this program. Thank you, sir.
I also take this opportunity to thank RK sir and Nanda sir for giving me this opportunity, trusting upon me, and allowing me to engage with the learned audience. And I hope I have done justice to the topic of what I intended to. So once again, thanks to ICI, thanks to the Internal Audit Committee Chairman and the Vice Chairman, and last but not the least, and thanks each and every member who were patiently listening to me. Thank you very much.